Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pelican Women's Championship press conference for 2022, and also, as you can see up on the gobo behind our panelists, talking about 2023 with the Annika driven by Gamebridge at Pelican. So I'm going to start with the introducing our panelists. So on the left, Marci Doyle, Executive Director for the Pelican Women's Championship. Dan Doyle, owner of, and with his family, owners of Pelican Golf Club. Dan Towriss, CEO and President of Group 1001, parent CEO or parent company of Gamebridge. World Golf and LPGA Hall of Famer Annika Sorenstam needs no introduction, and also needs no introduction, LPGA Commissioner Marcoux Samaan. So thank y'all, everybody. First off, first question for Marci, talking about this week, the Pelican Women's Championship in 2022, before we get to 2023. Just talk to us about what can we expect this week, talk about the field this week, talk about the excitement that is brewing here at Pelican Golf Club.
Well, first off, we have a great field, our best field in the 3 years of the tournament. We have 7 of the top 10 ladies that are here with us, and we've got a lot of excitement going on. But I literally just left the Women's Leadership Summit that's in process right next door, where we have 250 ladies that are enjoying a fantastic panel. We had Heidi Uberoth as our keynote speaker, and then a number of executive women for a panel, and they're having a good time over there. That was sold out now for 2 years in a row, and it just keeps getting bigger and better. And then throughout the week, we have a lot of different functions going on. We have Veterans Day on Friday. We're fortunate that that's during tournament week, and we're doing a major program where we have a program at the flag at 7:30 in the morning. We're handing out pins. We have a veteran that's going to be tending the flag all day, and so a lot of different things going on. We have Hero Outpost, where all veterans and military will get in free. And so we have a lot of things going on where we hope to give away a few Lambos this week. We gave away 3 last year. We're hoping for 4. And yes. And Dan actually, very smartly listened to the ladies, the players who said, hey, that was really cool last year, except we can't put our clubs in the vehicle and we can't afford we don't want to pay this kind of insurance. So he upped the game. Now it's an SUV, a Lambo SUV, and we're covering all the insurance, so we're hoping to give away a lot of them. We got the insurance for it. We're good, I promise. So yeah, we've got a lot of things going on, and Dan likes to always say, how do we make it better? How are we going to take it to another level? And I think we did that this year with a lot of the programs that are going to be going on site. We've got Publix Fun Zone, Family Fun Zone. We have a Publix Chill Lounge. We have a Casamigos Family of Friends general public area. All these are new this year for just general programming and things for people to do in between the holes while they're watching golf. So a lot of new things going on. We continue to try to raise the bar, as Dan says. Let's do it better. Little things, but big things like every restroom that's on site is an upgraded trailer air-conditioned restroom, all general public and everything. I know that doesn't sound like much, but for us women, it's a big darn deal. We don't want to be using those portalettes. So just some of those details, and that's what the Doyles and Pelican are all about. So we've taken it to another level, and I think hopefully we're looking to do so in 2023, take it to a whole new level.
Dan, talking about taking it to another level, so really quickly, just talk about you and your family's excitement about this week, about the Pelican Women's Championship, and then let's look ahead to 2023 with the Annika. So talk about this week and look ahead to 2023.
Obviously, we're excited about this week, but it's funny. I always say once we get to the week, I get to sit back and enjoy the tournament, and I've realized once we get to Monday, I actually start thinking about 2023, so I don't actually ever get to really enjoy the event. I mean, it's fun to walk around, but it's constant. How are we going to improve it for next year? Which leads into a perfect segment here. We're really excited about 2023. So Dan Towriss was kind enough to join us as the lead sponsor, but with a stipulation, which was great because it tied right into what we were trying to create here. And he said, Dan, we've got to figure out how to get these girls a bigger purse. And so along with bringing Annika, and where we were happy to rename the tournament, so next year it will be the Annika. We're also going to increase the purse to $3.25 million, which for us, we started 3 years ago. And we started low, and we kept climbing every year, but this was a huge jump because last year we went from 1.75 to $2 million this year, and along with Dan and with Annika, we're jumping up to 3.25, which I think will be one of the highest purses in the LPGA, minus the majors and the championship. So we're really excited. So again, just like as Marci said, we keep striving to how do we exceed last year. So, I mean, this is our first step, and I'm sure we'll have some other surprises that we'll announce throughout the year.
Dan, Gamebridge has been a longtime partner with the LPGA Tour with multiple events. So, just talk about your excitement and why partnering up here at the Pelican Golf Club and partnering up with Annika for 2023.
Yeah, so this 2023 would be our 7th year on the LPGA Tour, and we've loved every minute of it, but now we get to pair up with the dream team. So to be with Annika, it's a dream come true for us to be partnered with her, with the greatest player in the modern era of the LPGA, and then with Pelican and the Doyle family. I think we really see a chance to not just increase the purse, but to really grow the sport, invest in the sport, increase engagement, activations in a way that will just, I think, it's like I said, it's the dream team for us to come together at this venue. We couldn't be more excited about 2023.
Gamebridge also recently announced your title sponsorship of the Billie Jean King Cup. And so how does this fit into the overall portfolio of sports sponsorships that Gamebridge has?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we looked at our customer base. 60% of our customers are women buying financial products. And so if that's the case, why would 90% of our sponsorship spend, be on the men? And so we started to look for ways to balance that out. And so we had an opportunity to work with Annika, and we had an opportunity to work with Billie. And so, two of the greats, again, in those respective sports. But what it does for us is we have, 45 to 50% now of our total sponsorship spend across Gamebridge is going to be supporting women's athletics, women athletes, women professional sports. And we think that, again, represents our customer base, but takes things to a whole new level. And with the two of them as ambassadors, again, we couldn't be more excited about the direction of that.
I'm going to step in here. And first off, hi, I'm Christina Lance with LPGA Communications. Before I move over to Annika and Mollie, I wanted to say, Marci, Dan, on behalf of the LPGA, all the players and our staff, thank you so much for your support of us and elevating this event to some great new levels. Mollie, I'm going to skip over Annika. I'm going to come back to you in a second. Mollie, I'll come on over to you. What are your thoughts as you hear this news with this event being called the Annika, with the $3.25 million purse, with all these additional elevated elements that the Gamebridge and Pelican groups are bringing to this event? How important is it to you to see these partners coming together on behalf of our world's best female athletes?
Yeah, and just to echo what you said, Christina, thank you guys. I mean, this is truly remarkable for the LPGA. It's a huge day for us. I think, when we think about the dream team or we think about what makes the LPGA great, it's always been about partnerships, and the people that you align with and the people that you do business with really, really matter. And there couldn't be four better groups, with Outlier being our tremendous partner, and with the Doyles here at Pelican. I think this was the first golf course that I came to maybe when I started, and Dan welcomed me down here, and I couldn't believe how much attention to detail that they pay and how beautiful this facility is, and really how committed the family and the golf course is to the LPGA and to growing the game. And then obviously, Dan, last year being able to attend the Gamebridge event in Florida was great, and we're so thrilled that you've been so committed to the LPGA. And I can't think of a better sponsorship, Annika and Billie Jean King. I mean, that's pretty amazing. And then to have the GOAT, as part of an event, and our first namesake event on the LPGA, I think this has been a long time overdue. And to be able to finally realize that today, I think the partnership is what really matters. And so for us, we love the partnership, but also what this says on their commitment to women's sports, to the LPGA. I think it's an inspiration to girls and women around the world, and that's really what we're trying to accomplish. $3.25 million is a lot of money to be playing for, and it matters. It really matters for our players, and so we're just wildly grateful for this and can't wait to get going.
Annika, I'll move over to you. More than 90 wins worldwide, so much you've done for your game, for the women's game, for the up-and-coming game. Why was this the right opportunity and the right time for you to step in as this namesake event on the LPGA Tour?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited to be here, and I think a lot of us said here is the reason why. Dream Team and Committed to Women and the LPGA, and we worked hard to kind of get my name on a tournament. I really want to continue the partnership with LPGA, continue the legacy of giving back, and continue to grow women's golf. And when all these pieces were kind of laid out there, and it's like, well, how do we put them all together? And it's just, I love what Dan said, is want to make the sports better. And then obviously with this facility here with the Doyle family, and they are very female friendly and just so welcoming, the hospitality. Mike and I've been here for a few hours, but I feel like we've known them forever, in a good way, I mean. But it's just really nice, walking around here, talking to the players, and they're excited to be here. And I think the field that Marci mentioned, that says a lot, the reception from the players. So yeah, for everything to come together, I mean, this is somewhat, in our backyard, and to continue to be part of the LPGA with people that dream big and share the same vision is really important. So yeah, I'm excited too. This is, I wouldn't say another trophy for me, but it's close. It's a different type of trophy that you just, nowadays that's what I play for, and this certainly belongs at the very top.
And starting in 2023, this event is also going to benefit your foundation, the Annika Foundation. I know you're getting ready to go run your event in Argentina, so much that you do around the world. How important was it to make sure that your foundation was also part of this event moving forward?
Well, it's, that's just closest to my heart right now, foundation and giving back. And, we have many of the players that we call them Annika alumni that are playing here, and many more girls that want to play on the LPGA. So, some of the funds that we're going to raise next year is actually really going back to the girls that will be playing here in the future. So I really feel like it's come full circle. I mean, that's really what I do nowadays, is spend a lot of time growing the game of golf and inspire young ladies around the world to live their dream, kind of like I do.
If we've got anyone on the Zoom who has any questions, just let us know in the chat and we'll call on you. If we have anyone in the room, raise your hand. I'll bring a mic. We'll start right here with Steve.
This is for the two Dans. If you go back into history, we had celebrity names on golf tournaments everywhere, from Bob Hope and Bing Crosby to Glenn Campbell and Sammy Davis Jr. Those went away because corporate sponsors wanted their companies to be the brand. You guys went the opposite direction. Why?
Defer to you on that.
Well, again, I think when I first talked with Annika and Mike about the opportunity for this tournament, and we came up with different names, it just was the right thing to do. I think what Annika has meant to women's golf and her impact on the sport. We're so proud to be associated with her, and we think the order of the names is exactly right. I think again, we'll get out and activate. Gamebridge will get its due, but this is about Annika, what she's meant to the sport, and that certainly is the way we wanted it.
For Annika and Mollie, you addressed growing the game on the women's side. Curious, between you two, what are some really good signs you're seeing that are real encouraging these days?
Well, I can talk from the junior girls' perspective. I mean, the Annika Foundation now has been around for 14 years. And, we started small in the U.S. We had a tournament in Orlando, and the reception was really good. Then we went to China, we went to Europe, we went to Argentina, New Zealand. And many of these tournaments were the first girls' invitationals. I mean, especially the one in Argentina, they had never had a girls' invitational only. Now this is our 6th, 7th year coming up next week, and the participation is high. There are more countries represented. It's just you can see the growth. And I know that junior girls golf at the time when we started 15, 16 years ago, only 17% were girls of all the juniors in the U.S. playing, which is a very low number. Now that you look into those numbers, and we're talking about a third, maybe even 34, 35% of all juniors are girls nowadays in the U.S. And I think it's a combination of different initiatives that's been put together in the focus on, on girls golf, and obviously many of them go on to play where, the LPGA, because that's kind of the final, the dream that they have. But we see it, in college golf. I mean, I think college golf is as strong as it's ever been, and I mean, all different types of initiatives out there, girls golf, and obviously we take pride in our tournaments. So it's, when you have corporate partners that understand the importance of growing that segment of the game, you see the fruit coming through. And that to me is, it doesn't happen overnight, but we're seeing it, and I think there's more to come. So you can speak for the rest.
Yeah, I mean,
Mollie.
that's the great buildup. I mean, I think the result, as you see with the talent of our players, when we look at the metrics and we look at the data, the numbers are off the charts. If you compare the women to the men from, the proximity to the hole from various distances, our averages are higher than the PGA Tour, and just the scores that the women are producing every week. And that's on the LPGA. But when you go to the Epson Tour, for example, the women who are coming off the Epson Tour are coming right onto the LPGA and winning and finishing in the top 10. On the LET, the talent is enormous. So we're seeing it there, but I think the result, too, is the corporate sponsorship dollars are up 50% over the last 2 years. I think there was a great report that just came out about the new deals that have been coming through the LPGA over the last couple of years, and it's growing exponentially. And then if you look at the purses, and again, this is such a big moment for us going to 3.25 million. I think the purses in 2021 were at 70 million. This year we announced 86 at the beginning of the season. We finished the year at 93 million. And next year we're just going to exceed that. I won't give away the number for next week when we announce the schedule, but it's very significant, and that's due to the tremendous support. So it's really an integrated approach, starting with girls golf and with junior golf and the popularity of the game, and growing that talent and growing the exposure and the support from so many really important partners.
Right here to Chantel.
Dan Doyle, first question for you, and I'll have one for Mollie in a minute, but I heard you talk a couple years ago about your vision for what you want this tournament to be, a staple on the LPGA. I'm just using the men's game for comparatives for people to kind of gauge, but Waste Management Phoenix Open has WM Phoenix Open now, has kind of their brand. East Lake has their brand. What do you consider the brand and atmosphere that you want to see here for the Annika?
So I would like to see it be the Masters for the women. That's what we're striving for. That's what literally day one when we went out and we sat with the LPGA and convinced them to let us hold a tournament here. That was our vision. We may not have explained it to them right that day, but from that point forward, I've always told everybody I would like to be the women's version of the Masters. I think we've built a facility that can hold it, all right, that can replicate that. And you're seeing by great partners joining us, you're seeing our purse get to a level where it's got some size to it, where it will intrigue a lot of the players to come. And then we take a lot of input from our players. At the end of every tournament, we quiz the players. I mean, if you walk around the facility, you'll see we doubled the size of the practice putting green because that's what the players asked for. All the way to the part where Marci was joking about the Lamborghini where they couldn't fit the golf clubs in the car. I mean, so we went to an SUV. But it's their input that helps. And then we try to grow it from there. So it would be the Masters, that would be the pinnacle.
A job well done. Mollie, there's been so much turmoil in the entire game of golf, and certainly in the LPGA, there's certain challenges that many of us in this room knows what comes with it. But for people who might not be totally aware of the sponsorship commitments and the gratefulness we have to Gamebridge, but when it comes to the whole landscape of the LPGA, could you reflect on this past year and what has been good and some of the challenges that you have faced in your role?
Yeah, I mean, listen, the LPGA is a complex organization, and we wake up every day trying to be the leader in women's golf and to use that platform to inspire and transform and sort of advance the opportunities for girls and women. So we're really committed to that mission. I think it's we play all around the world. We have women from all over the world playing on our tour, and so that's always brings complications of just travel and making sure that we're putting on the very best tournaments and allowing the women, honestly, to reach that first tee ready to perform. And making sure that their travel and all of the other sort of performance environment that they need is good, and that's always challenging. We wake up in the LPGA. We wake up and have to, when the year begins, we have to put on a schedule. A lot of professional leagues, the schedule is already designed. Our most important thing that we do is have great partners like this, and that we can put on tournaments and have those opportunities for our women. So that's challenging as an organization to make sure that, again, you find the right partners that are willing to fully invest in the women and have purses that are commensurate with the talent of our players. So that's always very challenging. And just running the organization is tough, but it's going extremely well because, as I said, the partners that we have are so committed to us. I think my first impression as I took this job was, wow, people really love the LPGA and feel committed to the values, feel committed to the players and advancing the sport and advancing the women and allowing them to live their dreams.
And if I could ask a follow-up, I've been appreciative as a media member of how frank you've been with the conversations that you have to have. So what is the dynamic like between you and the LPGA, the PGA Tour, and the LET Tour as it stands now?
The PGA Tour and the LET, or?
Yeah, well, I know, for example, PGA Tour was part of making those media deals come to life with that partnership, and just speaking to what's happening with LET and maybe what you could tell us about that partnership.
The PGA, I mean, we have a great relationship with the PGA Tour, and obviously they are great partners on many fronts, and we are, they help us with our media. With the Ladies European Tour, we're in a joint venture with them. They obviously are a different, separate organization, but I think the goal with forming that joint venture was to help grow the game of golf, the women's game around the world, and to make sure that there are clear pathways for women and giving opportunities to women all around the world to live their dreams. So I think that's, we've been able to help the LET and elevate the tour there, and they've have more events playing for more money, and I think that's been good for opportunities for women.
Go ahead, Jeremy, and then we have a question on the back as well.
Quick follow-up for Marci and Dan. So we talked about this previously, but looking ahead to 2023. So Marci, you and Annika have a special relationship going back a lot of years from your former...
We won't say how many, right, Annika? Don't ask a woman her age, but it's been a long time.
Let me rephrase that. A few years. Going back to your days as the tournament director, COO for the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So talk about, you were with Mr. Palmer's lady for a lot of years with the Arnold Palmer Invitational. So working with Mr. Arnold Palmer and then working with Annika next year. How passionate and how excited does that make you feel?
Well, I think we have a bit of a personal connection. There was a business connection many years ago when we first met. I was with an agency that represented one of the companies that she was sponsored by, and we were fortunate to get to know each other maybe a few decades ago. But in between then and just more recently, I was over at the Arnold Palmer for 12 years, and we got to know each other even better. And I think there was a personal connection because of the hospitals over there, and she had her kids there, and I know there was just a very special bond, and she ended up serving as an ambassador for Arnold Palmer once he passed. So we had a lot of special time together, and I'm very much looking forward to creating the women's version of that. I think it's been a long time coming for Annika to have her own event. And the fact that this is truly, I think, check my facts, Jeremy, that this is the first women's tournament with a player's name on it as the namesake. And I think Dan and I are excited to be rolling that out. And I think, the fact that we're doing it with the GOAT is pretty cool. And there's nothing better. So we're really excited to be forging this relationship, and it's for many, many years to come.
Dan, follow up on that?
No, I mean, hey, we're in the Tampa Bay area, so I mean, we've got one GOAT, now we have two, which I think is wonderful. It kind of, as you move along, you look for markers that say, are you successful or not successful? And by putting the Annika name on this tournament, I think it just elevates it to one more level of success. So for me, it's kind of a, yes, we got there, and now it's, all right, now we're here, so how do we take it to the next level? And with the GOAT, I think we're gonna really get to new spots.
And Annika, same question as Marci said, and Dan said you had a special relationship with Mr. Palmer with over the years. So just talk about your relationship with Mr. Palmer, and then looking ahead to this tournament as the Annika.
Yeah, no, I look back at the times where I met Mr. Palmer, and whether it was Callaway or whether it was, the hospital in Orlando or the tournament. But I mean, like many people, I was a big admirer. Obviously a great player, but just what he did for the community, for the game of golf, and I just kind of looked up and said, wow, that's just so neat, and learned a lot of lessons from him, and just the way he talked about sponsorships, the way he talked about giving back to the game, I think it's, that was really important. And so I've always wanted to do a little bit what he was able to do. And so now to sit here, Marci, when you talk about it, it just gives me goosebumps just thinking about now I'm working with you and we're going to try and do something that he did because it meant so much. I mean, just when you talk to some of the PGA guys, how they respected him, how they would play his tournament, and that's really, I think it's really neat. So I think having my name, of course, it's cool for me personally, but I think it also hopefully people understand that the commitment that we're giving, being part of this tournament, we're going to work hard together and really elevate this event. I mean, really just talking about the purse is one elevation, but there's a lot of stuff here. Like Dan was saying, they want to make it one of the best tournaments out there, and we're committed as well, from a lot of different perspectives. So, listening to the purse, I'm like, maybe I should get my clubs out, but maybe not that committed.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
But I'll certainly be, part of the event as much as we can. So that's my commitment, and that's, having my name on there hopefully shows that to the players out here, and again, to continue the partnership with LPGA. So, yeah, it's exciting, but it's hard to compare with, Arnold Palmer, but if everybody can do maybe 10% of what he did, I would call that a success.
I'll draw you back here, way back to the camera. We've got a question right here.
I was going to ask you whether anybody was going to mentor you, but it sounds like you already got that covered with your background. But I do have a question going back to either one of you guys addressing it. I had a conversation when I was doing a piece for Antigua with Stacey Lewis and talking about the dynamics of the tour and how it's changed with all the international travel. With this in mind, and Annika, especially when you wanted to start your own family, is it sort of pushing the tour more toward a younger person's tour because it's just so hard to try to balance that travel and all of that with maybe the idea of family, et cetera? I wondered whether, looking at it from that perspective, and whether today you'd have a different approach.
When I competed, I didn't, we didn't have any kids. So, it's hard for me to compare, but I do remember traveling quite a bit. Being a European player, I played in Europe, I played in Asia, I played in Australia, and that was kind of what I liked about it. I liked that it was, my office was worldwide. I loved that. I loved meeting all the people overseas and the experiences and the culture, and so I embraced that. I just thought it was part of it, and I wanted to be an international player. I played on the European Tour and LPGA. So, but I think every player has a different goal and maybe a different vision of how they want their career to look like. But I didn't travel with kids, so I'm sure that's very difficult, and I can. If I would put myself in there now, it would be very difficult to travel with the kids, and especially homeschooling. Or, I remember the first few times I traveled, I was more concerned about having diapers than where my wedge was. I went up to do a clinic, and I realized I'd left my wedge at home, but I did have plenty of diapers and wipes, so I was all set for that. So, there are different things that come with being a parent, and I would think it would be very difficult to put 100% into your career, knowing that, the families either at home or at the hotel and want to make sure. So it's quite the balance. But I know that in the LPGA, they're lucky. You have amazing daycare. And, they do a lot of fun stuff for the kids. So I'm sure that's give them a peace of mind, too. So, but, yeah, if you look at, I think, the age the last few years, all the major winners have been in their low 20s. So I don't think that that's really changed. You can correct me. But a lot of the upcoming players are the one that's really leading the money list.
Yeah, I think one of our very unique, distinguishing elements of the LPGA is that we are a global tour, and we're really proud of that. We have the very best in the world coming to play here. So, but I think with 30+ events on the schedule, we give players an opportunity to pick and choose a little bit of which events they go to, and they can plan their schedule around what works for them. But I think we're also really focused on with the daycare and with other ways of thinking through what environment do they need to be able to reach their dreams and reach their peak performance. So I think there are examples of women who are really doing it and doing it very well. But as Annika said, each person has to make their own decisions. But we are really proud of the fact that we're a global tour and that we really bring the very best in the world together to compete here.
I would also just add to that, I'm curious. I'm sure there's more mothers playing now than it used to be because you're providing the service so well. When I played, there was only a few mothers out there. So I think you guys have done a really good job there. There are a lot of players that, like Stacy or Brittany, they're actually coming back after having their first. I think that says a lot.
Yeah.
Or second. That says a lot that they want to be out here and want to continue to compete.
Yeah, we're a women's organization, and I think that's really important for us to continue to focus on that environment for them out here.
I'm going to sneak through. Excuse me. We have a question over here. Hello, camera.
This is for Annika. Such a big commitment, like you said, to be the first title sponsor on a women's event, and there are many reasons behind it, obviously. What would you say is the main reason that you decided to align, with this particular tournament and make such a commitment moving forward?
Well, continue to build my legacy within the game of golf, and I'm all about providing playing opportunities for young girls. So how can we continue to do that? And I think this falls right in, kind of the full circle. But I think it's not just one reason. I mean, you have to have the right ingredients, and the ingredients is right here to get the good recipe, right? And then now we just have to kind of cook it and put it together. But I think, that's just really, I think, Mike and I, we're in a position in our life now where we're very fortunate to be where we are. And so when we work with somebody or associate with somebody, we want to have fun too. It's about the relationships, it's about making a difference, but it needs to be fun along the way. And I think that a lot of us up here, we share that, the synergy of what's important in our lives. I think all of you here this is free time. I do this, it's a job, but this is really just, my charity going back to women's golf. And so that's where I think it's important to have that in mind too. So it's, and also my way to say thank you. That's what the Annika Foundation is all about. It's giving back to the game that's put me where I am today and the people I've met and my husband. So yeah, it's our way to say thanks.
Do we have any further questions? All right, we've got one back here. We'll wrap it up with here.
This is for Dan or Marci. You guys talked about just how much excitement there was surrounding this event, but also this golf course in general. Pretty exciting that in a month's time the match is going to come here as well. Can you just talk about what went into, getting that tournament to come here and just how exciting it is for Pelican to host that?
So the match, the whole purpose of having the match here is really to help Southwest Florida on hurricane relief. And it started with, I've got an 81-year-old father who said, look, Southwest Florida got devastated. You don't get to hear about it a lot in the press, and Florida kind of says, okay, we'll handle it ourselves. And so as we went down that path, he said, what can we do for it? And so it took, knowing a few people and making a couple of phone calls. And lo and behold, we end up hosting the match here, so it's 12 holes on December 10th. But, they liked the golf course. They had seen it on television because this is our third year hosting the tournament. And they kind of said this would be a great spot. The west coast of Florida, it's going to be a fun night, but it took more phone calls really and just asking favors.
All right, with that, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Mollie, Annika, Dan, Marci, thank you very much. If you have any extra Lamborghini keys, we can take care of those for you. No problem. But again, thank you all very much. Jeremy will send out the recording of this and a transcript when we're finished. But I'll thank you very much, and here's to a great week here at Pelican. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.